Can I ask both of you guys then, what is your biggest mistake in your real estate landlord investing, let's call it career? And what's the biggest win you've had?
The biggest mistake for sure is selling. Like, I don't think it really ever makes sense to sell a rental property, right? Like all the horror stories I hear with my clients, it's like, I rarely hear the story where they regret buying something, especially when it comes to investment properties. It's always, I own this back in the day, or I own this property back in the day. And it just, the regretful stories I hear and what I've experienced myself is selling properties when you probably should have held on to them. That's my own story too. I had a property in Rutland that was a perfect rental property, cash flowed, and I just sold it for not sure why. So that was a huge mistake for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. It hurts, hey, when you look back and see what they're worth now.
Yeah. Well, even honestly, I don't think the value has went up a whole ton for me, like in that property, but like the mortgage has been paid down probably like 150 grand by now. Yeah. Right. And just another thing to have in your portfolio that like selling it didn't really add a lot of value to my life or anything. Whereas now I would really like to have it. So that for me, for sure, is the biggest mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on our end in the Lower Mainland, we saw such extreme price increases that if I look back at some of the places we did flip and sell, at the time we're like, we're crushing it. You're like, wow, it's doubled in value.
Well, back in like 2020 and 2021, like you're like, yeah, I'm crushing it. Then you wait 3 months and it's went up 30 more %. You're like, okay, well, how are you supposed to plan for stuff like that, right? You just can't build around.
Yeah, we never had the capital to be able to buy one and then refinance. Yeah. We weren't in a position to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Which we were always chasing. And then eventually we kind of got phased out by government rules, et cetera. But I would say the point I made first, buying at the right price, I think we might have got a little cocky at one point. And we're like, man, we just saw so much success with each one of our flips that we kind of thought we had the secret sauce that nobody had. And then a couple we bought, like one of the ones we bought did a beautiful renovation on the place. And then the condo insurance, I don't know if you guys remember that. I think
the leaky condo. Yeah.
Pre-COVID, the condo insurance spiked. So people's rates were going up like 200, 300%. And some buildings weren't even getting insured. So that made condos undesirable. And then like several weeks later, COVID hits. So we had a place that was going on the market within 2 weeks and both those things hit. And before you know it, we have no one who can walk through the home. There's no open houses. There's nothing in person. Everything's virtual. And we just watched what we thought was going to make us a couple $100,000 go down and down and down. And we ended up actually losing money on that property. Fortunately, about $7,000. So in the scheme of things, not terrible. We didn't lose our shirts or anything. But had we held on to it, to your point, it ended up selling for way more once COVID took off.
Yeah. And that's not that long after. But again, you can't plan for things like that. Like that just happens.
I totally agree. Absolutely. Like selling is detrimental to like the net worth building, but it's also really hard because, you know, you can sell and then generally like as humans, our minds look for, oh, like what if I didn't, you know, but it's funny. Like we look more on the positive side of that. So I agree. Like I sold my 23 unit apartment building this year. Yeah. And like, you know, looking at it right now, okay, I don't even care what the market does. Like, okay, so, and I'm very aware of like IRD penalties when you're breaking a mortgage. So, you know, you can plan as much as you want, but like essentially you're probably going to get crushed on that no matter what. My IRD penalty on that was $123,000. Obviously it's like, it's a large commercial mortgage. So like the penalty is quite a bit higher. So that just crushes like a huge amount of profit and then capital gains on top of that. And then so that by the time like all the dust settles, you're like, man, I really didn't walk away with like as much as I wanted to, but I did like analyze it pretty heavily going into it. I'm like, okay, well, I had about a 400,000 CapEx. Like I needed a new roof, windows, parking lot, like siding. And I wasn't going to see any of that money back in terms of what it would do to rent, right? Like we've already renovated the interior. So in my mind, I was like, I either sell now, I get liquid, I invest elsewhere, and I got to pay these fees, which suck, or I hold on to it, I invest another $450 into it, and it doesn't really change. So I think like, you know, in 10 years from now, I'll still have the same mindset of like, God, why did I sell that? For sure. But you generally don't look at it and go like, oh, I sold that and then I did XYZ with it. So I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes people make, right? Is they'll sell and then they won't reinvest or roll it into something else, right? The money will just like disappear all of a sudden.
It does seem kind of interesting, like just like listening to my self-talk and then you like hearing these stories, like there's not a lot of incentive to sell, right? Like it's basically just buy and hold. Whereas like in the US, they have that 1031 exchange where it's basically incentivizing more investment, like bigger and bigger. And like, I feel like something like that could help like commercial real estate and like investment real estate get rolling. And like, it just seems like you're crunching the numbers. The profit has to be so high for you to even be positive.
But the higher it goes, the more tax you pay. Like it's
exactly. So like it goes up X amount, you're only getting 50% of that or less. Right. And it's all going to taxes and fees. And it's just like, the incentives are just not there. But if you could roll it over into a bigger property, you could have some people climbing some stairs here pretty quick.
Yeah. And that's what you do. Like I refied that property a bunch of times to pull out the equity to roll it over. But believe it or not, that wasn't my biggest mistake, although it's a huge number to pay in penalties. My biggest mistake, thinking about it, was becoming a mortgage broker. and you guys are probably the same. Like once you're a professional in the industry, you kind of stop investing in it. Like you're now working with clients, you prioritize them. Like even my own mortgage, I'm like, oh my God, I got a month left till my renewal. I got to get on this. We're like clients, I'm reaching out, 120 days before. This is how we're going to like, you just focus so much. So biggest mistake I made was being a professional in the industry instead of just, investor.
I'm glad you didn't say your biggest mistake was becoming a podcast host. That was,
well, that was part of it. That would have stung a bit, Taylor. Honestly.